Hi everyone, welcome to Artistic Digitizer V2. Today we're talking about space and floral fill and more. And let me put the camera on and I'll tell you a little bit about the more part. Here we go. So the more part, I want to add a couple little tools in there to show you a few more things with the software. One of them is the show hide tool, and the other one is rearrange. Now rearrange, I'm going to just show you a simple thing on that, but this is really a big tool that we can use. So you want to maybe take a look at that. All right, so we're going to talk about space fill and floral fill first. This is where you can take a graphic and you can multiply it into a shape or put it on as a floral on a little vine. It's a little different than our floral vine fill. That was like lots and lots of vines, and this is a more simple vine that you create in there. So I'm going to go ahead and open my software, and before we get too far along, I wanted to show you in the software where you find to register. So it's off the screen for me, so you're not going to be able to see it. So you're going to go up under your help, and then there's a register tab there, and you'll get this window here. And you fill this in, and that will register your software. That way, if something should happen, a computer crash, you lose your computer, something like that, you can contact Janome, and using your name as your credential and some other information, you should be able to recover your software. All right, so make sure you're doing that. Everybody should make sure you're doing that. And then the next thing I want to show you under the same area is the printable help. And I wanted to point out that on page 22, the new features are listed there. And with each of these, there's a little link down here where it says learn more. And I really challenge you to open it to this page and go through these one by one so you can see all the new features. There are lots of new features. The program works very much the same it did before. They have changed some of the tools. I think they've perfected some of them. We just have to get used to using them in a different way, possibly. So go through here and you can read them and then click on here and follow along in the directions in the manual. Okay, let me close this out of the way. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to do floral fill first. I'm going to bring in, this is an SVG, so I'm going to bring this in, and first I'm going to just delete all this white around here like that, and then I'm going to delete the green part here, and I'm going to use the used colors because it selected it, and right here I can X out right there. So it does have this little extra outline thing in there, and that is from being part of the graphic. So I'm just going to select it and delete it. So there is our flower, and I'll just move it off to the side a little bit. And then I'm going to create a shape. I'll do a circle shape here like this. Not that second one. Undo there. Let's hit select so we can move this back in, and I'll make it a little bit smaller so we are not outside of our hoop. There we go. All right, so now what I can do is I can select everything. So if I come over here in my sequence and I click, I should be able to have the first one clicked and come down here and click the bottom one. That's everything selected. I'm going to right click on there, and then I'm going to go to array and then create fill from shapes. Now when you do that, it does the shape fill first. And when you click on that, you have all these other shapes which we've had before. We can play with. There's the floral vine. That's what we had. But now we have space fill and floral fill. So I'm going to go to floral fill, and it doesn't show anything in there because my design is probably too big, the max and the minimum here. So I'm going to bring the minimum down just a little bit here, and I'll bring the max size down. For my shape, it's probably too big for my shape. There we go. And then the next thing I want to show is over here is stitch flow. And when you have stitch flow and you put your cursor over here, you get the little dot, and you can put a dot anywhere in here or on the edge, and it will create more of the vine for you. So you get a little bit more vine in some different areas if you wanted to do that to kind of fill your shape up. So you can play around with that. And then the other thing is because the colors that were chosen, my outside color right here is this orange. And if I right click on it and edit color, it'll pop up the color wheel here. And I'm going to change this to Janome. And then in the swatches, I'm going to make the outside this teal color. And once I choose it, and it's made that inside part teal as well, and not my outside. Oh, that's because I have to get this part. Okay. All right, let me undo that really quick. There we go. So the outside, this is the fill and the outline. When I have this selected, it selects all of these things. And so if I want to change the inside part of the flower, let's go here and we'll select, right click here and set fill color. And we'll see that may change the, or let's just, yeah, select by fill, set fill color. And then if we edit the color, I can make the vine. Let's see if we can get the vine to be green. I'm going to go into Janome and my swatches, and I'll just take this dark green. So it picked up anything that was green and made it this green. But there's ways to change that. We'll go through and I'll show you some more things on that part of it. As you're working with your design, once you're done with the parameters here, all right, I'm going to hit select. And then if we went to slow redraw right now, we are in manual. If I go to slow redraw, you'll see that it'll do all, well, that bottom one. And then it starts to do sections of this, and then it'll do sections of that. It's looking at the colors and where they're in line with the vine. So they have, you have to stitch certain things before other things. And what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to take this flower away. So one of the things you can do is if you want to go in there and change those colors a little bit more, when I select this, I can't really differentiate between the vine fill and the fill of that flower. But if I went here to separate to objects, this makes everything its own object. And then I'm going to right click in here and ungroup. So now I could go in and I could completely change, the whole flower itself. So if I grab that and maybe I want to leave that as red, or maybe I want to change that color, I could come to the bucket, come in here to Janome, pick my swatch, and maybe I want to make it this orange color, this yellow color. So I'm going to click right here and it changes just that one. If I come in here, it grabs this green part here, but it's part of this as well. So let's see if I have to do break apart. There we go. And I could just might have to break apart a couple times. No, I think we're pretty good. So then, yeah, there is some issues with this being a part of something else. So on this one, I did break apart. I think we're okay. Let's see what happens. I think what's going to happen when I have that selected, I'm going to go to the bucket and I'm going to make it this pink color, and I'm going to click here. There we go. So it just changed that flower. So now you can go through and change all your flowers that way. If it's connected, remember to select break apart so you get it in different parts. But now what's going to happen is when you go to the slow redraw, it's going to stitch in a very strange order like this. So you'll need to do some work with the sequence manager over here and fix that part of it. And we'll come back at another time when we're going to talk about the sequence manager and moving everything in there. There are ways you can right click over here and select by color, and that grabs all the green, and maybe you want the green first, so you're going to bring it up to the top, or you can click over here and do order to back of design. So now it's back there. And then if you wanted to pick up the pink, you can right click on it and select by fill color, and it'll pick up any of the pink. And there's only that one pink. Maybe it's this red. So if we get this, let me do the red. Select by fill color. It grabs all the red and you can move those up. So that's an easy way to move things in your sequence manager to make things work a little bit better. And we'll be talking a little bit about the rearrange tool over here. That's a little different. It's, well, yes and no. It's where the stitch comes in and goes out of your design. But let's go over and take a look at the, I'm going to close this one. I want to show you some things with space fill, which I think are very neat. So I was playing around with this, and the first thing I want to do is I want to rotate my hoop. So I clicked on my hoop icon, and the rotate hoop is up there in the left side. I'm going to put 90, and helps if you, there we go, and put 90 in here and rotate my hoop. I'm going to turn off the hoop by going up here. And then I'm going to make my shape in here that I want to fill. Now I'm thinking I want to make a border to stitch along the bottom of a skirt or a pair of pants or something like that. So there's my shape. I don't need the fill, so I'm just going to delete the fill and I'm do the select up here. Now I want to change the top part of this, and if I go to edit nodes, it doesn't give me it only gives me the shaping nodes, not the nodes I need for working with adding nodes to it. So what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to right click on it and do convert to curves, and then go back to edit nodes. And then along here, I can add nodes along here. So I'm just going to add some nodes. I'm right clicking on there and then add node. And then I can just go ahead and pull these down. I can use these arrows to make my shape kind of like that. Let's bring this one down and move these up. So I'm using the arrows, move that one, to create the shape I want to fill. So that's my shape. I'm going to hit select so it turns it off. So that's what I want to fill. And I'm going to create the shape that goes inside it. Now I could go up here to my tools, of course, and I could use a symbol or something from the clip art library, but I want to create something here because I think this is kind of cool. And I'm going to move off to the side here. Let me get that closed. I'm going to move off here. Well, maybe I'll just put it up here. I'm going to make a circle, and what I want to do is I want to fill that circle with stitches, with a decorative stitch. And I'm going to keep the outline out there. So over here in properties, it is a step fill. I can see right there, it's a step fill. But right here are stitches. I want to fill it with stitches. And I'm just going to choose this one right here. And I'm going to zoom in so we can see it. Now that looks pretty full. That's 1,600 stitches. That's pretty nice. It's tiny. I'm going to change the density just a little bit and make it less dense, and just a tiny bit more. There we go. And then I'm going to change the length. I'm going to make the length a little bit longer. That's too long. Let's go back a little bit this way. Let me go. Let me change the density just a little bit. There we go. So I'm trying to make them fit together a little bit better. So there we go with that. So you can play around with both your length and the density to get it exactly where you want it. No, they need to be a little bit bigger. There we go. I don't really want them overlapping, so I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more, maybe to 30. There we go. All right, so that's going to be the shape that I'm going to fill in with my my border. So I'm going to select, come up here and hit the select, and then I'm going to hit shift and select my border, and right click. I'm going to go to array, fill from shapes, and there it's in there now, but I want to use the space fill, and I'm going to come down here and do space fill. From here, of course, I can work with the spacing. Maybe I want less spacing between them, like that, so there's more of them. I could change the minimum size. Maybe I want the minimum size to be 100 to get more in there. So I can, play around with all these different things in there. And this will be my border. Now I probably will not use this part of it, but what I want to show you is while it's there, I can hit edit nodes. And if I wanted to pull up on any of these, there we go, or play with any of these, it will fill it in for me. So I can adjust my border. Once I get it to where I want, I can go ahead and delete that green by Xing here. And there, this is the extra one, I'm going to delete that. So this would be what's on the edge, and you can see it a little bit better, the shaping of it over here. But maybe I would want, I could still adjust it by editing my nodes, so I can continue to make these skinnier, or I could come in here and make my max size smaller, like so. I don't want to go that slow. There we go. So I have more filled in. The scale, we can change the scale. All of these things create your design differently. I could still now keep it with these outside borders if I wanted, that little run line. While I have it selected, let's go back up here. So you can make different changes to your design. Before I took it in, I probably would have wanted to make some changes to that outer part. And now, of course, I could do break apart, or not break apart, I could do separate to objects if I wanted to separate to objects. This to me is going to be a lot of fun. I want to play with this a little bit more. This design is pretty big. It's in my big hoop, and it's going to be a design I'll probably have to do multi-hooping on. And the great thing is the split could be right here because I'm not chopping any of my design apart. Or even, I could probably come in here and do my overlap like right here, so that I don't have any designs overlap. So I'm going to have to play with this. I'm not home right now to stitch anything and put it together, but I do have to create a lesson on multi-hooping. I've done one or two before, so hopefully some of you will experiment with that as well. Now, I'm going to go to a new page, and I want to show you just a simple, we're going to make our little shape. I'm going to make a second shape over here. I'm going to select that one and right click here and edit the color. Oh, I just want no, I don't want to do that. Let me undo that. Put this, oh, there we go. Click off of there. And I'm going to make another little circle here. There we go. And I'm going to select both my circle and my shape here, and I'm going to do the array and fill from shapes. And then I'm just going to go to space fill again, and I'm going to make my spacing further apart so we have less in there. There we go. So this is a good example. All right, and I'm going to get rid of this one because I don't need it. My outside part, I'm going to turn that into a satin stitch here, and I could make it wider if I wanted to, maybe 3.0 mm. So we have a little bit more to look at. Now I want to talk about the arrange tool. So right now, if I went to slow redraw, well, first of all, let's go up here to manual. Well, let's leave it at auto for a minute. If I go to slow redraw, it's going to start with the center one, I think, and it's going to go back and forth around the design like that, okay? And maybe you might want it that way, but maybe you want to, and this is just a simple thing to rearrange, but this is going to show you how to rearrange. So I'm going to make this manual. I'm going to select my rearrange tool, and then think here what I had it. Oh, rearrange, manual. And where are my stitches? Maybe I don't have it all selected. Hang on 1 minute here. Okay. So what I forgot to do is I had to do separate to objects. So before, when I was trying to get this undone, it didn't come undone. I took a little pause there for a moment, and I have to come over here and separate to objects. Then I have to make sure auto is on manual, and then here I can do rearrange. Now rearrange shows you the direction everything is going. So you can see from the center where it's going. So if you want it to go in a certain order, you can rearrange the order by left clicking and dragging to another one like this. And maybe you want it to really come in over here, and then you want it to go to this one. And then you want it to go to this one. And you can move your points around like this, in and out of there. It's going to change the stitch direction because of that, but you could make this go, all the way around your piece if you wanted to, like that, instead of going, eventually, sometimes it just fixes itself. There we go, because we get to the end, there we go. So you could do it going around. And then from there, you can create your in and out part. So if I really want it to come in from this side and go out there, I really want it to come in here and go out down here, I can change all of those myself by moving these points to make it where I want it to be. And then it will end up there. So this is what it'll look like in slow redraw. So it's going to start in the center, and then it's just going to go all the way around this way. Now, sometimes going all the way around is good. Sometimes it's good to go, across it, because it adds the tension to either side of your fabric as you're going. So it keeps that even, the compensation and the density, that tense part that's building on each side, instead of going in a circle. But that's how you would, if you were doing any design, that's how you would rearrange. That's how you use the rearrange tool, okay? Now, the other tool I wanted to show you today is the show and hide tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this design here. And this is a design we used way back in May for my spa day. And say I wanted to work on just the net fill back here. If I click on and everything's selected, so I want to right click and ungroup this. And then I'm going to click on just the H, and maybe I want to put the H, I want to hide it. So I can select it, right click, and hide selected. And now I can see that pink part. So this part here is the other blue. So if I clicked on all of these sections, and there's a tiny little section at the top here, and I did right click hide, there we go, hide selected, I'm back to seeing just my net fill. So if I wanted to work with this net fill, maybe over here, I wanted to change the cell size. Maybe I wanted to make it bigger and see what it's going to do. Because sometimes when you get bigger, you get stray threads that you're not sure you want. So you have to kind of decide there, and which way things are going to go for you. So you have a way to look under your design very, very easily. Once you get done, you can right click again and show all hidden, and it comes back. This is going to be really handy when, even this is a very simple design to show that, but you might have designs that are more difficult, lots of layers of things, or you want to work in a particular area. You can hide all the things around it so you can get to those areas better. All right, let me go back to the camera here, and let's get this up here. Here we go. All right, so hopefully that'll give you some things to play with the software. A couple things to remember. If you want to use some things with rearrange tool, you'll have to do separate to objects. If it's a space fill, any of those fill stitches, even the floral fill, any of those things, you have to do separate to objects so that you can rearrange them. Because the software keeps them all together and doesn't, it wants to do it a certain way. But if you want to have that control, separate to objects, and every little piece of that design, I mean every little piece, will be its own little thing. So you have different ways to group them at that point, and you could use the rearrange tool if you needed to. So I really challenge you to play a little bit, make some easy samples, and take a look at how the rearrange tool works. When you're dragging it over and you're putting it on the edge of something, you're going to see how that stitches. And then the exit is going to come out. The software is going to give you the exit on that part of it. So you want to take a look at that and see what your stitches are looking like. It's a really good lesson on, being able to see those little details before you do it on a great big project. Okay, but you can definitely use it on a great big project as well and make things stitched in the order that you would like. And then you have to remember, like I said, with the things going around the outside, sometimes what we want to do isn't always the best way to put it. So do a little sampling and playing around with all of that. All right, everyone, I was looking at my notes to make sure I covered everything today, and I think that I did. Hopefully I'll see you again next week as we go over some more things with our V2. I don't know what's on my schedule for next week, but it'll be definitely just something fun. If you have comments about something, you can either post them below. If you need help with something or want me to do a video on something, post it below. Or you can ask on the Janome Artistic Digitizer Facebook page. It has it looks like this when you, let me see if I can pull it up really quick. It looks like this kind of up here on the top of our page now. So when you see that, you'll know you're at the right page. So if haven't joined, go over and join the page. I've been organizing videos over on my YouTube channel so that we can access them easier. I'm also doing a thing because Facebook deleted all of our old stuff. Okay, and so it's a little instead of putting them back into Facebook, I'm moving them somewhere else. But one of the things on Facebook I'm doing is up under featured. We have those words at the top. Under featured, I'm pinning certain posts up there. And in the comments, I'm adding videos to them. So I did one yesterday, I think, on the artistic cutter. So the cutter videos are in there. Sort of like, instead of going to guides, now we can go to the featured. It's a little bit simpler, I think. And there's one up there on the things with V2. So as I create my videos with V2, I'm trying to post them into the comments of that. So you'll have them all in one spot. Okay, so hopefully that'll be helpful. And when you do respond in there, I get a little notice that there's a response in there. So, please make sure you make comments. On some threads, I will stop commenting after. I'll hold comments after a little bit. So because if it doesn't stay on topic, then we have all kinds of threads happening and it's very, very difficult to follow. So if you comment, there's a comment and then you in the comments and you make some different comment, at some point I may just close comments on that just to keep things going a little easier. Then take your comment and make a new posting so we can start fresh. Okay? All right, everyone, have a great day. Get out there and, get outside and play, but actually get inside and get going on your software. All right, everyone. Bye for now.